Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Art of Creation Homestead. My name is Jason, and if you follow us or watch us even somewhat regularly, you might think, hey, wait a second, it's June 1st and we haven't seen a garden content from Art of Creation Homestead. Jason, where's your garden? Well, we've been taking our time. Alright, we've done things a little differently this year, and we took our time doing so because, alright, it is different. We're making sure we're trying to do it right, and honestly, this might be the best garden we've ever planted. It could be. I mean, like, obviously people say that a lot of times, and when you get done planting your garden, you feel full of anticipation, full of hope most of the time, because you've got a beautiful garden here, and it's you got a lot of plants in there, and you think nothing but good thoughts as I step over this fence. But you think nothing but good thoughts because everything's going to produce as more than it ever has. Everything's going to be the most beautiful produce ever. Everything's going to be perfect. And oftentimes, if not 95 to 99% of the time, it's not. But we really do feel really good about what we've done here. We're not done planting, by the way, but we do want to go through our main in-ground garden and show you what we've done and talk about why we did it this way. Now, I'm standing up here, we'll say the top end of our garden, okay? So it's actually part of, if you want to go north and south, this is the south end, which, whatever, it's not that long to go north and south. But anyways, so it's the top end of the garden, closest to the house. Sun's coming through, sorry. But if you'll see behind me here, all right, here's the main in-ground garden. And if you notice, we'll get closer, there is a black ground cover on that. While it's dirty, it may not look exactly like it is. It is a ground cover. It's polyethylene, polyurethane, whatever it is, a ground cover that we have then taken and burnt holes in to plant inside in the dirt underneath the ground cover. So like here's a tomato plant. It probably needs a little water, but you see how this is the first hole I burnt. So it you just use our flame weeder and burn a hole in it, and you see here. You just plant inside the dirt here. So it took a little bit more time doing it this way, but the ground cover's here to keep the weeds out, right? Because we just don't have time to go through and weed everything all the time. It's just the way it is. Things get away. We're producing content. We're taking care of baby chickens, full-grown chickens. Angela's editing, cooking, you know, doing laundry and junk in the house and trying to do things out here. Right now, we're having to water like 2 hours a day or more because of the amount of rain we have, which is non-existent. And it's been hot, and it's like 90 degrees. So there's a lot of watering involved. Weeding the garden just seems to be a waste of time. So we invested a little bit of money into this ground cover, see how it works. Honestly, as we're just getting used to it. I'm sure we've made mistakes with it. I'm sure there's things that we could do better with it. But we took the time to lay the ground cover first. So I tilled the garden like normal, fertilized a lot of the garden areas. Did some more specific fertilizing in some spots, but then we put the ground cover on, and so I had to roll it out. It was like 4 foot wide roll, so I had to roll it out, start down there on the lower end because it's slightly uphill this way, so I could leave it down there, pull it up, and the roll stayed down there, and it's like 4 foot strips overlapped this way with landscaping pins to nail them into the ground. But we did want to get used to using this cover, so. Because, like, okay, so if we ever get a bigger property, I'm gonna have larger gardens. We're gonna be planting more and more and more, and it's still just me and Angela. So, essentially, my viewpoint is that we paid somebody to weed our garden this year. Okay, so we paid a little bit on this roll of landscape cover, ground cover, to. Essentially, it's like we hired somebody to weed our garden, so we don't have any weeds in this spot. So that's time and effort and energy that we don't have to spend doing such a terrible task. So that being said, let's get into it. Same as always, right here in the middle, we've got 32 tomato plants. All right, now I'm not gonna go through every single variety, just simply because it's a lot, and I might not remember. I got it on my phone, but I may not remember right off. But it's a large variety of tomatoes. Some have a great purpose, some have just some curiosities. And like Cherokee Purple, Angela's favorite tomato. Carbon is one that's not used enough, but it's a wonderful tomato producer. Bonnie Best is our workhorse that Angela depends on for canning. Amish Paste are just a delicious tomato, but can be a little disease prone, so We try not to get too many of those, but we do love those tomatoes and they're great for canning, so we plant a couple of them. So two like sun gold and a blueberries for small cherry style tomatoes, and just a lot there. But hopefully we plant so many, and we got some in grow bags too, so we'll wind up with like 40 tomatoes planted. But hopefully the idea is that you got canned tomatoes and tomato sauce for all year, which has pretty much worked. I think we just now ran out of pasta sauce that's canned, and Angela still has quite a few canned tomatoes as well inside that she hasn't used. So that's kind of working out pretty good. Maybe a little more pasta sauce next year. Now obviously tomatoes are just typically the star of the show in anybody's garden. They love talking about their tomatoes and how many tomatoes or how many big tomatoes and whatever. They love the tomatoes, right? But we also grow a lot of peppers here. See, so you see this line here, there's 25 different sweet peppers here. No spicy peppers. We don't mind the heat here, but it doesn't really do well on our stomachs. So it's 25 peppers right here. And they're gonna range from Ajvarski, which is a long cone-shaped red pepper sweet, to King of the North, which is just a basic green bell pepper, to two yellow bells. Which, by the way, if you remember, we planted some older seeds, like 5 years old seeds that we just kind of stumbled across. We always wanted that. We actually like those two bell peppers, but they've been really hard to get to grow for us. So we planted them to see how they would do. They did great. Starting off, they were actually those two varieties. It was if I can pronounce them correctly, it's Quadrato d'Asti Giallo and Rosso. So yellow and red. So Italian bell peppers. One's yellow, one's red, and they're delicious. And they actually probably did better than any of our peppers did growing up. So hopefully they produce as well too. But they do take a lot to produce. But either way, so there's 25 peppers here, 32 tomatoes here. And down this trellis right here, we've got North Carolina long greasy green beans. All right, that's my favorite green bean. And these are just seeds that Angela had saved a couple years ago. And so I was like, you know what? We love them. We got them. Let's try to put them here. We've never put them on this trellis before. It starts to get shaded. If you see like above me, there's a lot of honeysuckle growing over this fence, and so it starts to shade pretty good. And right here is a big maple blocking sun as well. But we do get a solid amount of morning sun coming from the east that way. So hopefully we get enough sun here. And these are actually just not starting to germinate real well. I'll show you. These are starting to germinate pretty good right here and here. Little gap here, but I think they're going to come up. So all the way down that line we have, it's probably about 55 feet row of green beans here. So hopefully, right? And green beans are super important to us, but we plant them in a variety of ways, including these two beds back here. And those are bush beans and some squash and zucchini back there. I'll show you that. These raised beds we created a few years ago. Here's yellow squash here and zucchinis over here. Some of them hadn't come up yet. We had to replant those. Landreth bush beans here and here. If you followed us last year, then you might remember the chronicling of problems I had with rabbits. Rabbits would get in here. Could figure out how to jump through this electric fence and get in here and just mow down our green beans. We had to replant beans so many times last year because rabbits were eating them as soon as they popped up. Haven't seen any rabbits lately. I did see one. I ran it off with a water hose. He didn't come back, and I seen another one, and was able to get him out of here as well. So hopefully rabbits are gone for now. So maybe our beans will survive this season because we do kind of love them. Planted some tromboncina on this trellis. If you remember last year, we had some beautiful tromboncina growing up this trellis. Those are the really long, like 24-inch long, like almost zucchinis, right? That's what those were that we grew a lot of last year, and so we got them right here again, and hopefully they germinate here soon, and we get some more beautiful zucchinis. We got Kajari melons on this trellis here, and one of them has, this one's germinated, so good. Now down this lower end, it does start to lose some sun. So don't really know exactly how well things will do down this way. We've always planted it and we always get something. Could it do better? Maybe, but that's just how our yard lays out. So this is where it's got to be. But we've always planted down here. We do have a long enough growing season. It should be okay. But we never put melons there. Never really had Kajari melon either. So we're gonna try it. And back here, let's see if I can walk this way. Right here, we're gonna have these 6 little sections right here. This is all sweet corn. Okay, so just a little bit of sweet corn planted. We don't eat a crazy amount of corn really, and it takes a lot of fertilizer, right? Especially do it organically, like we do. So that looks like I've got one come up maybe. Let's see. This is bodacious hybrid corn, non-treated seeds. It's a yellow kernel. We've got one so far popped up. It's hot. It's hot. It's hot back here. So let's see. There's one right here. Let's see. Yep, there's one right here that's germinated. We've been watering it pretty good, but this ground is still dry. Looks like another one maybe. So hopefully they'll get going, and I still have more seeds if I need to replant them. That's fine, but hopefully they'll get going and start growing soon. And then down here, again, it's becoming increasingly more important to us to grow this item, and it is popcorn. You got mini blue popcorn on the left going down this way, and mini pink popcorn growing up this way. Yes, we planted maybe 100 seeds, 100 popcorn seeds around there. They didn't really count, but I was kind of putting them in. They can be planted a little bit closer than sweet corn because it's, again, they're smaller stalks, and the fruit is only about this big. You only get a couple per stalk, but it's something that we're growing more and more of, and we're super interested in it, and we love it. It's delicious, and we've used all the popcorn we had last year and had to buy some more, so we wanted to plant more. Angela Kay could not care less if we plant sweet corn or not. She'd rather much of this whole thing be popcorn, to be honest with you. But I'm super stubborn, and I want to make sure that I want to be able to grow some good sweet corn. Sorry, just super stubborn in that way. Now these teepees right here, we've got 6 teepees. I think 5. I'm sorry, it's 5 teepees because hey, learning curve trying to make a teepee. Trying to do the ground. Well, I'll show you. Trying to burn holes in this thing to make teepees is not the easiest thing. Here's the first attempt, not very good. Second attempt, a little better, still not the best. Third attempt, you're getting a little better, starting to try and understand how you do it on an angle. Fourth attempt, not bad at all. But I did realize on the last one, it's like, hey, you know what? I could make a really big one. So I did that. And I didn't have room for 2 more. So I did have room for 1 really big one. And this one wasn't so bad. Started understanding a little bit more how I need to do it. And, you know, like I said, it is what it is. Here's where it overlaps. And so this seam, try not to ruin these seams because you can reuse these next year. And if we can't, we can't. If we ruined them, we're just learning. But I had to make sure that we had something to keep this together while still having room to plant. So it's a little tricky, and again, we're just learning. Okay, we're just learning how to possibly use this for our benefit. So if we ruin one, we ruin some, you know. But so this teepee and this teepee have Tar Heel green beans on them, and the other 3 teepees have pink-eyed purple hull cow peas on them. Super delicious, and really one of our favorites to grow, but has recently been taken over by other things, but we still love it. It doesn't mean we don't love it. Now down here on this lower end is very little bit of sun. You get a little sun over here, not much sun other places. As you can see, this is growing over top, but that's not really the biggest offender. The biggest offender is more this tree here and this tree over here. So either way, we didn't want to waste this ground, so we did plant things down here. Ground cherries here, we just love them. So however they grow. We love them, chickens love them. So we had to plant some somewhere. Planted those there. Planted Jacob's cattle dry beans right here. So we didn't really have a place for them. We just said, okay, they're gonna take a while to grow anyways. So it's a bush bean that you let dry and becomes a really beautiful dry bean. that you can use like in baked beans and stuff like that. So those 2 little rows there and here. So this is Jacob's cattle beans here and here, and there and there. And we also just had to have some color. So trying to get some color and some pollinators to the area, right? So we planted some calendula here and here, 2 different kinds of calendula in those sections. Just some seeds we had, honestly, that Angela bought we never used. So those 2 little spots are calendula, and these spots are calendula. We do miss having lettuce in the summer. We've mentioned that before, because you got fresh tomatoes, but fresh lettuce is really tough because it gets bitter and bolts and doesn't grow really well. So we got a heat tolerant all season or all year long lettuce supposedly. So we have lettuce here, here, there, and there. So 4 little spots of lettuce. Hopefully we can get some decent lettuce. And you know what? Angela had bee balm that she bought before, and some bee balm that was given to us from Baker Creek as free seeds. So red bee balm back there, those 2 little spots, and lemon bee balm right here. So again, should give some life, some color, and hopefully attract pollinators to the area as well. Bees are important. Please understand that. You need bees. We need bees. Not only do they produce honey, they pollinate your vegetables. Without them, it's really hard to get stuff to grow. So you pollinate your fruits. Sorry, they pollinate your fruits, and you need them. We need the bees. So please take care of the bees. Super important to our food system. It's designed that way. It's meant that way. So feed them with good good flowers for pollination. Now, thank you guys so much for watching. We do appreciate it. That's the garden. That's the in-ground garden this year. We're planting more and more and more stuff. You're gonna see it. It's going to be documented on these videos for you. But thank you all so much for watching. We do appreciate it. My name is Jason. This is Art of Creation Homestead. We love y'all. God bless you and goodbye.